They are. Speaking of not having a long season left, time is ticking on the NBA season. We are really getting through, and we are really starting to see the end of the tunnel. May 18th, of course, is the end of the regular season, logs in the playoff. So Connor and I are putting into afterburners, and we're going to conquer three NBA teams tonight, starting with Connor's favorite team, the Denver Nuggets.
They're pretty much my favorite right now because they're doing quite well. Yeah, as we mentioned at the top of the show, a big loss that they're going to have to really work through. Um, Currently, the Nuggets are sitting number 4 in the West, right in front of the Lakers. If everything were to have held, their first round matchup would have been against the defending NBA champion Lakers. And I think that had Jamal Murray not torn his ACL, that would have been a real problem for the Lakers if that's how things would have held. Um, but they still have some players. Michael Porter Jr. still has the opportunity to make a big time impact, and they have our man the Jokic. They have our man the Joker, but I'm kind of seeing some real issues here with the Denver Nuggets as this season progresses. What do you think, Rutledge?
I think so too. It's they've gone from definitely being the Denver Nuggets to now the Chicken Nuggets. And just so that everyone knows out there, for Murray's ACL injury in the basketball world, it's a lot longer recovery road. He probably won't be back until next year after the All-Star break. So I know in football we see them go down, they get an off season, they come back. This is going to be a while for them to be without one of their bigger contributors. Now, of course, that being said, Murray made Jokic better because Jokic is having an MVP year. He's he's putting up 26 points a game. He's putting up 10 rebounds. He's leading the team from the field. He's leading the team in assists. So it's going to be, how does Michael Porter Jr. respond? How do they handle in the conference? Their schedule is not simple. Um, so we later will unveil where we see everyone finishing the year, but this is a
And
big.
let us,
Go ahead.
yeah, let us not forget that you know part of what the Nuggets had to do, and I mean they really had to do this was when they traded for Aaron Gordon, that wasn't just for fun, right? They really felt like Joker was having a big time year, and Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray was doing a lot of really good things, and they needed to pull the trigger on a big good slashing kind of 3/4, somebody to play some wing defense on LeBron, which is why I think that would have been a lot of a big time issue for the Lakers. But then you lost such an important part because when you traded for Aaron Gordon, you lost depth, right? So
Hmm.
you were kind of sitting on a razor thin margin. You were just sort of assuming no one else was going to get hurt, which obviously everyone gets hurt, but you always got to risk it for the biscuit, right? Like Super Bowl champion coach Bruce Arians always says. And you know, they risked it for the biscuit, but I think that they're getting to not so much the biscuit love right now.
No, and their schedule's not doing them any favors. Tomorrow night they have Miami, so the injury to Murray is huge. They have to respond emotionally quickly. They play Friday on Houston, but later this season they have Portland twice. They have the Lakers and the Clippers again, and they still have the Jazz on the schedule. So even though they're sitting at fourth, they can't coast into the playoffs. um, they have to kind of really still kind of earn it, because if not, they're going to get stuck in that play-in tournament. And I'm with you, Connor. I don't think they have the depth to play their way out of number, let's say if they're a 7 or 8 seed. I don't think they have the depth to play their way out of that 7 seed and then really start to make a run, especially when they'll play some of these rested teams that skip that first play-in round.
Yep, no, for sure. And the other thing to notice here with the Nuggets as I was prepping for the show and learning a little bit more about our man the Joker. One of the things that he's been having, especially over the last little week, right? He's really struggled actually with the reps. He's struggled with getting calls that he thinks that he should be getting, and or not getting calls that he thinks that he should be getting. And one of the podcasts I was listening to for prep, they made a really good point. This guy, he was talking about how he had Jameer Nelson on the show, former Magic player, former Nugget, and Jameer Nelson said, everyone thinks about the physical struggles throughout the course of a season, but you can't forget about the mental and emotional baggage and toll that a season takes. You could play 3 games in a row and you're in a tight playoff race and you miss a couple calls, you get frustrated, you lose a couple games, all of a sudden you're down a seat in the playoffs. So I think the one thing to really be keyed in on is Jokic, how he responds to some of these issues that he's trying to work through right now.
Yeah, and they can't wait to respond. So it's got to be an automatic. They have to make sure it works out because if not, they're in big trouble. It's too
I
late in the
did hear
game.
I did hear an interesting take that as it relates to the point guard position, because um, right now they've got Monte Morris and Facundo Campazzo. I totally, but sorry, Facundo. But combined at the point guard position now, the Nuggets have averaged 15 points and 6 assists a game. I don't know about you, that does not exactly inspire confidence. But
No.
the kind of the one of the hotter takes that I heard and read about while prepping for the show was, being able to potentially have a 5-second violation, putting you to sleep with my hot take.
Oh,
Uh, but getting Austin Rivers actually off of waivers.
yeah, I
So
had.
being able to have an experienced point guard there in the lineup.
They're definitely going to have to go out there and get someone off of waivers because they've put themselves in too much of a critical position to get it done with who they have. So they're going to have to go out there, and luckily the NBA allows you to do these types of things when these major injuries happen.
Do you
But
think that we could see any point forward play for Michael Porter Jr.?
maybe, but even as it is with tonight, I see him as more the laid back guy to drain the shots, and he's been a performer for them, but his role, I think, where everyone's going to look to Jokic to turn this around, then the big Denver fans going to look to Jokic. It's Michael Porter Jr.'s game right now. This is where he kind of steps up into the world, and this is where he makes an impact. Because if he
That's
doesn't, they don't have enough depth. Aaron Gordon, as we both know, as being Orlando people, he's good, but he's not a carrier franchise good.
oh so close, which
So
draws us into
close.
halftime.
What a first half.
A lot of points scored, which
That
is pretty good.
that
I
uh
like
that
points.
that 38 to 27. Connor leads me. I am Portland Trailblazers. Connor is the Denver Nuggets. You're shooting 59% from the field, and I feel it. Oh, I feel it.